Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video on integrating Power BI. I'm Tim Weinzapfel, and in this video, I'm going to show how you can create automated emails using Power Automate, but make those emails look a little bit more professional with using HTML coding as well as cascading style. Now, I've already done a video on how you can use an embedded Power Automate button to send automated emails from your Power BI report and pulling in integrated data. But what this video is going to do is take it a step further and show how you can format those emails to make them look a little bit more professional. Let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to jump over to a very simple report I have. Let's jump over to there. This is a report that I have that shows a list of projects that are past due. Now, in my case, I have a button up here that when I push it, it will send an email to the selected project manager or project managers, sending them an email asking for an update. Let's jump over and I will show you what an example of what that email looks like. What you're going to see here is an example of an email, and if I bring my mouse over here, it's pretty straightforward, and but what it's doing is it's pulling in dynamic information directly from my Power BI report, and you can see how that it's pulling in the project name, project manager, um, and so on. The challenge is it just doesn't look all that great. I mean, it's a little hard to read. Of course, the dates here have to be formatted, which we will fix, but it just doesn't really look all that great. So let me jump to this second example here. Now, this is where I actually reformatted the email using just a little bit of HTML coding, as well as setting up a cascading style sheet so that I get like this dark blue color for the header. I get the font here at the top is white, and so on. And then even if you hover over, you get this little effect here. Um, but this was done just by tweaking my Power Automate flow and then using the HTML coding approach. So let's jump right over to the flow and let me show you how this can be done. So I'm going to go ahead, back up to my flow. So here is my flow. Again, I have all of the fields that I want to send to that my flow so that they can be embedded in dynamically. And let's go ahead and edit the flow. All right, so the first action, of course, is always the Power BI button being clicked. And then because when you are doing that and sending data to Power Automate, it is always going to wrap it and apply to each, because of course you can send multiple records. And in my case, I'm going to send an email to each record. Now there are two here because these are the two examples. Now the first example, again, this is that very simple email where you see I do have some hard coding in here, but I'm also pulling in these dynamic fields that are available here. And again, I've already covered that in a previous demo, so I'm not going to go too deep there. But what I want to do is switch to my next example, which is a little bit further down here, and that is using the HTML format. Now, when you are in your action, in this case, this is the send an email action. If I hover right over here, there is a code view that if I click on it will actually toggle, and this is actually an HTML code view of that email. And I can actually switch back here to the original format. And that's what I've done here. I've actually switched over to the code view, but what I've done is I've embedded in some additional style coding along with, if I scroll down here a little further, along with my, here's the message that's embedded in within coding. And this is pretty straightforward. I'm actually not going to go too deep into this because I'll actually show you a very easy way to do this. But you can see here, I'm setting up my style. And then this is establishing, for example, here is the dark blue color for my table header. And then down here is simply where I have my email message, and then I have a table to have it um, that table look. Now, if you have never done HTML coding, or you're new to that, or you're not familiar with cascading style sheets, not a big deal. You can actually use ChatGPT to actually do most of the work for you. That's exactly what I did here. In fact, let me jump over and let's jump right to my thing. Here is my request to ChatGPT. I just explained what I wanted to write some HTML, and I gave it a little bit of information that I wanted dark blue, and it wrote everything for me. And I just scrolled down here. Here again, I didn't need everything, but here's the style section that I was able to copy and paste in. And then also down here is the table. It even created a basic table for me that I was able to use. And if I switch back over to my Power BI report, I just basically cut and paste that in. So that is all there is to it to start getting access to making more creative emails and embedding some of this style and this format. Now, just be aware that once you start getting into a lot of the formatting, this button up here can sometimes actually disable. So this button is disabled. So that's it. And that was the second example. Let me jump to my third example here, and I'm going to close this up. Let's jump back over to the thing, and that's where around the state. So you notice the state here has this format that is not very user friendly. You'll notice here I've actually cleaned it up a little bit. Let me jump back over to the flow and show you quickly how that is done. And that is in my next example here. So we'll switch over here. Now, in my case, what I wanted to do is just use a very simple compose action, because that allows me to use the format date time function. And in that case, I am just formatting the end date field. Let me go ahead and recreate this though, because it did get a little tricky, and I'll show you that. Let's go ahead and use the compose action. I'm gonna go ahead and find it. It is here in data operation. Now, if you go to the format date time, again, this is a very simple function. All it needs is your timestamp. And again, in my case, I want the dynamic field of the end date. And then if I hover right over here, it's a little hard to see, but there is my dynamic content area where I could pull in that field. Problem is, it's not available. The only thing that's available is this apply to each. So what do I do? Well, the good thing is I just have to find the right coding. And let me show you what to do here. If I actually remove this, and let's jump back to the expression and then switch back to dynamic content. Now I can pull in the dynamic content of the end date. So if I pull it in there, you can actually, and I hover over, you can actually see there's the coding that I need. And you can see the items, the apply to each, and then the name of the field. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my expression. And I'm going to go ahead and find my format date time function. And again, I'm going to go back to my dynamic content, not there. But remember, this current items is, and that's the first half of what I need. All I have to add in now is the field name. So I'll add my question mark, my bracket, and then in a single quote, the name of the field, which is end date. And I will close that bracket up and then give it my date format, which is mmdd/YYY. Then do OK. Now I've got, if I go ahead and show this, I've got the exact same format. I've got my format date function pulling in that dynamic field. So just a quick little trick for you to when some of that dynamic field information is not available. And delete that. Now, I'm going to go to my last example of just adding in just something extra to my emails. And let me jump back over to the emails. And if I go to the top one, in this example, I've added a logo at the top of my email. Now, this is an image. It is quite large, so I'd probably shrink it down a little bit. But the simple answer is you can add in other things such as images, hyperlinks, and so on to add that additional information to your email. Let's jump back over to the flow. And that is just this fourth example. And again, same coding here. All I've done is add in this image tag. Now, I do have the image. It is a URL that I'm giving it a location to. So I have this saved on a SharePoint site. But again, all of the capability to add in images and other things that you normally do. And that's all there is to adding in and reformatting your emails by using HTML and CSS. So I hope you found this video helpful. Hopefully, I can give you some ideas to maybe tweak and improve some of your how the emails look. If you did, again, please hit that like button, and I will be continuing more videos with integrating Power BI. So thank you so much for watching.